Jason Dembski is one of the co-founders of HKWALLS.
So I started it with a friend of mine, Stan. I studied architecture, and that's what brought me to Hong Kong originally. I kind of wanted to provide artists an opportunity in the public view to share their work. That was the start of it. You know, we managed to find 10 locations around the neighborhood, and we didn't really we did it on a real shoestring. Like, we were begging and bartering through a block party. They hosted, and it was great. So I had just quit the job that in mid 2013, I quit the job that brought me here. The success of HKWALLS really drove it and still drives it. It's nonprofit. It really doesn't make any money. We keep saying we're going to kind of rein it in and be more focused, but basically we just spend everything we have every year and just always we can do this now. We still have some money. Let's go do this other. Let's add this on. And a lot of it was even, you're going to paint my wall. It's really, it's usually, oftentimes they were a mess. The paint's peeling, and there might be a bunch of tags and other things, posters on it, or. They're like, oh, you're going to make it look better? Great. Yeah, go for it. Do it. We're trying a few new things. So this is actually our 10th festival. This year, our kind of home base, our headquarters, where everyone comes and goes, exhibitions and everything, is going to be at PMQ. If you walk by PMQ right now, you can look up and see tests hanging hanging from the outside of it. A bit of telling the story, a little bit of PMQ through the people in the community. Large temporary panels, walls for artists to paint in the courtyard. There's going to be some games and things to play as well, probably. We have 11 rooms throughout the buildings that are going to be occupied by individual artists and galleries looking to exhibit during that week.
Welcome to the last meeting of the week. I never knew your last name until today, because I looked you up on the LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
And I imagine you are Jason Dembski, because in my phone you are Jason HKWALLS.
Right.
So welcome to the podcast, Jason Dembski, Mr. Dembski. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time, especially now. We are a few days away from March, which is Art Month, that for someone like you must be quite hectic.
Yes, yeah. A few days away is a scary thought.
When does everything start for you guys? Because I was going somewhere in Soho House a few days ago, and by chance the elevator stopped at level 10,
Yep.
And I saw that there was quite something being built over there. How's that going for you guys?
Well, yeah. The stuff at Soho House actually started last year, I suppose. And it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just like a space that we use, that they're like a super, they've been super supportive over the years. And after we did a bunch of events during HKWALLS in 2023 at Soho House, we used it for our exhibitions and kind of our headquarters. We took over the entire 22nd floor of the building.
Selfishly, I joined Soho House, as many people, when after the pandemic and after the exodus from Hong Kong, it was a very empty place. So for them, extremely bad business. For me, extremely comfortable, because I don't enjoy crowds. And now that they're finally having back some success and some people coming in, you can't help but feel a little bit pissed, because now there are queues, elevator takes forever, and the gym is it looks like pure, but whatever. It's been good for a while. So Jason Dembski is one of the co-founders of HKWALLS, and correct?
Correct.
And I was very keen on talking to you because I have been a super, how to say, I don't want to call myself a graffiti writer, but I attempted to be one when I was a small kid. So and since I discovered that my talent is limited, I decided that I could continue on enjoying other people's work. So especially in a city that, like Hong Kong, in which urban rules are quite strict, and how to say, guidelines from the government must be followed. I imagine that the existence of an organization like yours is a very necessary vehicle for this art form to happen. This is my interpretation. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would love to learn more about how this happened, how this idea came to be. Try to unpack many things. How can you make it work? How can this be operationally viable? So let's start from the beginning. Am I right? You are one of the co-founders. Who is the team that is behind this venture?
So I started it with a friend of mine, Stan, in 2014. Just as I don't know, a side project, something fun to do. More or less, there was a few reasons, I guess. I kind of came at it from like a fanboy perspective. You know, I studied architecture, and that's what brought me to Hong Kong originally. But then I started seeing the graffiti and street art in around Hong Kong, and started photographing it, and basically became a fanboy, and just like kind of really interested in why artists, what motivates artists, and the work that they're doing. And so over time, I started to follow artists out into like these concrete rivers, out in like Yuen Long or abandoned buildings, where they would paint, and they would they'd go to these places because it's, the surfaces are big, and they can paint, and they can spend time and really not be bothered by the police. They're not necessarily legal painting spots, but out of the public view, and they kind of won't be noticed if they're there for a while painting. What I started to realize is that, like, even sometimes you go in these abandoned buildings and you'd see work from international artists who were just here visiting. And it was just kind of strange that like these things are happening. Sometimes they're spending all day there painting. But the only people who get to see it are, the other artists who know these spots, and then people like me who, follow them out there, or, also or urban explorers and things like that. But they just, largely unseen by most people in Hong Kong. So kind of wanted to provide artists an opportunity in the public view to share their work. There was also, we were beginning, because I was becoming friends with artists, and we were doing like little parties here and there, like on our rooftop in Shangwan, and we'd invite people to come and paint and barbecue and just hang out, and helped with a project with Swire, kind of behind the scenes once, kind of helping find local graffiti writers and street artists to work on their project. And people started coming to me and my now wife, my girlfriend at the time, Maria, and asking if they could help us, if we could help them, find an artist to paint at their event, when it might be like a DJ party or an opening of a restaurant or something. But kind of what I started to realize is or notice is that they didn't care so much about the art or the artist. It was more like, oh, we heard graffiti's cool. It's something to put on the poster. It's going to attract people to come. And oftentimes, the artist would be stuck in the corner. Yeah. Maybe there's not even light on them. And at the end of the thing, it's just, where's the art go? Where they don't care. Just throw it away, or,
Oh, really?
Sometimes, yeah. And so it's just like, that sucks. The artists probably get paid a little bit, but not too much. And I was kind of like complaining to Stan about this over a beer one night, and I think it was him. He was just like, well, why don't we just do our own event? Why do you keep doing these things for other people? We could just do something in the streets. We could have a festival, and we were kind of referencing a few festivals that had already existed around the world. It's kind of like a blueprint, I would say. But we just like okay, let's just let I was living in Shangwan on like Po Hing Fong at the time, and just like let's see. I think it was probably like February, and at that time, I think it might have been the first or second year of Art Basel, 2014. I think it was in May, and we were just like, all right, let's just see if we can get 10 locations in Shangwan, and if we do, then we'll have a little festival. We'll invite all the artists we know, and and that was the start of it. We managed to find 10 locations around the neighborhood, and we didn't really we did it on a real shoestring. Like we were begging and bartering. We got some paint donated, spray paint donated to us. Do you remember Boom Magazine?
Yes.
So we knew one of the editors there, and he basically gave us some free ad space in like two different issues. And at the time, we didn't even have a name for this event. We didn't know what we were doing at all. So we didn't know how to use the ad space. So at least I think we used the second edition, but the first issue of Boom that we were given this ad space, like a full spread. And we're like, well, we don't have a name. We don't have any artists. We maybe have dates. We're just working towards it, but we don't have any idea what. So we took that ad space and we basically just sold it to someone else for half price to get some money, and then buy more paint and tools and equipment. And then post festival, we used the other ad space to kind of advertise, I think, or maybe it was during. But yeah, it was really kind of scrappy and just kind of working with what we had. Yeah, and I think, do you remember Little Burro, the restaurant? We partnered with them, the Mexican restaurant. They were just opening in the neighborhood. Okay. And like the same week of our festival, they just happened to be opening, and so we basically threw a block party. They hosted, and it was great. And I think the kind of rogueness and success of that, and kind of caught a lot of people off guard, but it got some attention, and then. For the next year, we started getting actual sponsors and being able to do bigger and better things, I suppose.
No, that's. I believe that best brands come out of little planning. If you spend too much planning, too much time trying to come up with the perfect name, the perfect idea, everyone's gonna start to brainstorm and list 20 words, and then normally the people forget about this unless you are faced with a problem. I need to describe something. I need to do it fast, and it has to be essential. I think HKWALLS is perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
if you spend 2 months trying to come up with a name, you would have done something more sophisticated that would be a little bit, I don't know, probably more snobby. And HKWALLS is PAM.
Yeah, we I think, I don't remember what any of them were, but we went through a bunch of like really bad names. Like they were just like a little pretentious, or just a little too, I don't know, like graffiti focused or mural focused. Or
but that's the point. People think either get too pretentious.
Yeah.
And people, I include myself, by the way, I'm guilty of this 100%. Either you get too pretentious or you get too niche, because you become self-referencing, and then none of those things work. Things should be kept simple, flat, no BS for sure. That's nice. I mean, so it started as a frustration. You organized. Did you surprise yourself of the success of the first edition?
I don't know. I don't think I had like any expectation for its success. So I guess maybe a little bit. It was more like, let's just do this. Let's have fun. Let's have a party. Let's paint some stuff. And we hadn't really thought much further than that. It's just that. But yeah, I think we were pleased by the success and how it was received, for sure.
At the time, what were you doing for a living? You were here. You mentioned you came to Hong Kong through architecture.
Yeah.
Were you working as an architect at the time?
Yeah. Actually, I had just quit the job that in like mid 2013. I quit the job that brought me here, and I started kind of doing my own design work on the side and teaching part time in Macau. and Hong Kong U, but it may not have started at Hong Kong U till after the first festival. I can't quite remember, but yeah, just kind of still in design, still working that way, and but then over the years, kind of art took over and the design kind of fell to the side.
So now you are dedicated full time to HKWALLS, or how is your situation now?
Yeah, pretty much. HKWALLS and kind of associated projects. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So let's say you mentioned, okay, one thing is you start doing things on a shoestring. By the way, the selling half of the advertising space is brilliant. I'm gonna remember this if I need it in the future. And so you do that, you get by, and then you start getting sponsors the second year. So things start being more feasible. How do you go from that to make something that, I mean, I'm not gonna say makes you rich because it's a non-profit organization, but you can make a living out of it and you can dedicate your focus to it. How is that process?
Let's see. I guess in the success of HKWALLS really drove it and still drives it. It's nonprofit. It really doesn't make any money, at least not currently. We spend basically, we keep saying we're going to kind of like rein it in and be more focused, and but basically we just spend everything we have every year and just always like, oh, we can do this now. We have, we still have some money. Let's go do this other. Let's add this on, and like, so yeah, we basically just like, burn all the money that we get and more sometimes, but I think we have a pretty high threshold for quality and expectations of what we do. Like we hold ourselves, and like we always just try to push and do the best thing we can with whatever we have. And I think that kind of shows a little bit. And so I think we've been able to make a name for ourselves as kind of, or at least like if you think about, good street art, good graffiti or whatever in Hong Kong, we keep the quality high. And I think because of that, we have, other people approach us about more corporate work. So, things that would feel weird to be doing under a nonprofit. We have basically had to start a second company that's for profit to handle that work.
Okay.
So that's actually how we pay ourselves, is through
through the other company.
Yeah.
I see. What you do is totally legal, and I would love to. No, obviously, because it's out there, and you see even public buildings that have donated walls to HKWALLS, and we'll get to all of how those mechanisms work, but perception-wise, because in many cities, especially if we think about Europe, if you think about the US, despite the fact that now everything is being a little bit more accepted into pop culture and, let's say, channeled into legal systems. However, graffiti is always an underground art form, and Hong Kong is a very traditional city. What is the perception? How has the perception of Hong Kong government / Hong Kong people to these projects that you've done?
I think it's changed a bit over the years. In the beginning, it was, we were kind of approaching people and just like, most of what we do, the hardest part of what we do is getting permission for the locations. And at the beginning we had no real examples. We had no track record. Nobody knew who we were. So we just showed the owners images that the artist may have painted in those abandoned buildings or overseas, or other, a few rare cases where they had more of a public mural. But we showed it to them, and they really didn't know what to. A lot of the people didn't really have an expectation, and we either would get like a quick yes or a no response, whether we can paint their location, and a lot of it was even, you're going to paint my wall, it's really, it's usually, oftentimes they were a mess, like the paint's peeling, and there might be a bunch of tags and other things, posters on it, or, and they're like, oh, you're going to make it look better? Great. Yeah, go for it. Do it. But there wasn't, we kind of stayed away from the term graffiti, I suppose, and just kind of talked about painting murals or street art. But yeah, generally people were just kind of like, they didn't have an expectation, I would say, for what was to come. But now, or even pre-COVID, there's been like a much wider acceptance and kind of like understanding of what street art, mural, graffiti is, and more even like the U.S. Has been for a long time. Everyone's has an opinion now. So like when we approach people, they already have an idea of what they like. They've seen lots of murals and street art and graffiti. Some people are like, oh, I hate graffiti, but I love murals, or I really love graffiti, and it could be the opposite, So I think, like people, it's become generally just like much more mainstream. There are festivals all over the world, just like us, and of all scales. And yeah, so people have a much bigger understanding of it. And actually it makes it, sometimes it makes it even more difficult for us, because now that everyone has an opinion, they want to be engaged in the process, and they want to choose the artist, and they want to,
You mean the wall donors?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, much more than at the beginning. It was very hands off. Yeah, go ahead, paint it. Now it's like, oh, which artist? Can I pick? Can we? And yeah, there's a lot more back and forth.
That's interesting. So how these wall donations work? I mean, I know you have a website. Part of your website, you can click on it, and whoever has a wall, if you didn't know them already, you can go there. HKWALLS.org,
yep.
And you will find it very fast. You get a lot of people actually just reaching out to you saying, please come and paint my wall?
More and more, yes, for sure. But I would say still a majority of it is us knocking on doors, sending letters, calling people.
So you do survey around the city, you say, I think someone would be very cool here.
Yeah.
And you go there. Okay. So you're brokering between the wall owners and the artist.
Yeah, basically.
How do you access that talent pool? Is this something that is made of personal acquaintances? Is it people that you look for? Do people pitch themselves to you?
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, we have between me and Stan, and Maria's our managing director. We all have our own kind of wish list that kind of accumulate over the years. And then, we do an open call every year. This year we got more than 600 applications globally. And then also we've built these kind of networks with other festivals where organizers and curators around the world also. So like if we're, looking for an artist from Italy, we might message someone and just say, hey, have you worked with anyone recently? Any Italian artists you really like, or were, great to work with, or, and so that also, the recommendations are also quite valuable.
So, okay. So I'm trying to, one of the things that I know that I like to do is to try to understand how things are organized. It's like sort of like a mega factory tour, but in podcast form. So okay, so now so now you have the walls. Then imagine now you have the artists. How then do you make it happen? Do artists, they just pay for their cost? They come here as a way of showcasing their work, or do you sort of like sponsor them and let's say, okay, you come here, I take care of you. What is the involvement?
Could be both ways. Most of the international artists that we invite, we have some way to cover like their accommodation and travel, and then all the equipment and paint and tools and things to make it happen. Generally, lately that's come through consulate support or other institutions. So like, for example, the Consul General of the Czech Republic, they've sponsored an artist with a collection or a group of other EU institutions to basically sponsor. The first year, 2 years ago, it was 4 artists from different countries, and then last year it was 6. This year it is 6 as well, and then we have a few others coming in, but like Irish consulate as well, and Dutch consulate, and so yeah, they're all basically contributing funds to help support artists from their countries.
That is super nice. So Czechs, Dutch, and Irish are cool people.
yeah.
How about the Spanish consulate?
Actually, Spain this year has joined in. Yeah, so we're bringing one Spanish
we
artist.
are doing something nice at least. Bravo, good. My taxpayer money, not mine because I live in Hong Kong, but at least my mom's taxes are going to. I don't know. I'm very happy that you tell me this. Okay, that's nice. Now you made my day actually. Okay, so you have all of this. Let's say actually I'm trying to imagine the organization of something like HKWALLS during Art Month. So you bring those artists here with different helps, and then. How does the event unveil? Is it over a weekend? Is it over a week?
It's about 10 days usually.
10 days.
We usually start on the Friday or Saturday before our Basel, and then come and finish the next weekend.
Finish the next weekend.
Yep.
That is nice. How is the coverage from local media of this type of events?
Pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I can't complain. I think our press is pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, and you as well. I mean, on podcasts and other things, it's quite good for us.
This is the first time I have been considered media. David, we are making it. There you go. No, but look, I still, to me, it's still bollocks. When we start getting a little bit of recognition, in my mind, I'm still a mad person doing something that no one listens to. And slowly, few more people start listening to it, but it cannot enter my head. It's something very weird. It's something very weird. No, I'm very happy to talk to you because, especially in a city like this, that is. If you think about Hong Kong, it's all about finance, it's all about insurance, it's all about trading with China. Yes, it's about art, but when I see art next to a bank headquarters, I normally think about people spending their bonuses and avoiding taxes. All respect to that, by the way. I'm not going to be anyone judging. Saving money, but then you bring a different freshness, a different air. It makes it, let's say, it's more in line with this flavor of Hong Kong that I still believe it's gonna come back, and I think slowly we will see a renaissance of the city. How is, let's say, so again? We are recording this. I think we can say this. Today is what, 26? Wow. 26 of Feb, so 3 days away from March. How does HKWALLS 2025 look like? What do people can expect differently this year from other years?
We're trying a few new things. So this is actually our 10th festival. So it's kind of a big year, I suppose. But this year, our kind of home base, our headquarters, where like everyone comes and goes, exhibitions and everything, is going to be at PMQ.
Okay.
In Central. So we're gonna occupy the courtyard with some large temporary panels, walls for artists to paint in the courtyard. There's going to be some games and things to play as well, probably. And then we've kind of launching this new segment of the festival called HKWALLS Rooms, which is basically utilizing all of the this available space at PMQ for that 10 days. So I believe including the room that we'll use for our own kind of group show and kind of reception and headquarters, I would say. We have 11 rooms throughout the buildings that are going to be occupied by individual artists and galleries looking to exhibit during that week.
Okay. What happens? You mentioned before that people during those parties that you would help organize, some of them would throw away even the art. It was just like I was imagining, I was heartbroken because I was seeing the graffiti artist as the clown on the kid's birthday, or the makeup artist for kids parties. What do you do with the art that is produced during this week? What happens to it?
Well, I mean, most of it will still be in the streets. So PMQ is going to be like the central, the focus center point, and then basically all the artists are going to go out into the various locations around the neighborhood and paint what should be long-lasting murals or artworks, and there'll probably be 20 to 30 of those. And so those should last at least a year, maybe longer. But at PMQ, I don't really know what's going to happen yet with the kind of temporary work. In the exhibition spaces, there was going to be work for sale. So it'll be more canvases and sculptures and that kind of thing, as well as installations. And it's going to kind of more immersive rooms as well. Whatever doesn't sell will just go home with the artists or the galleries, and we'll see.
One of the questions I wanted to ask was about the duration normally of these works. I'm now talking about the wall work on the street.
Sure.
Because I see that some of them last forever. Like there is one, I don't know how to describe the exact name exactly. It's between Shuntak and the ferries. When you're going, let's say you get out, you go down the stairs, you start walking. Before there is a toilet, there is a room there painted, and that has been the same for 5 years.
It has something to do with the ocean or wildlife. Or,
yes.
That one we weren't a part of, but I think I know which one you mean.
You were not part of that one?
No. I think that was it might have been a commission from one of the government, whatever building that is. I can't remember exactly, but I know the one you mean. Some of them, at least when it comes to the work that we produce, some of them have lasted a really long time. We just painted over one last year that had been there since 2015. And so oftentimes it's really up to the landlord, the tenant, as to how long it stays. But we generally ask for a minimum of a year, just so like the artists, they get some life out of it, out of the work they put in.
Nice. It has to be heartbreaking to paint over things.
I mean, we do get attached to some of them, I would say, but I don't know. I always try to just remind myself that like street art's ephemeral. It's not meant to last forever. It's part of the fabric of the city, and the city's always changing. And so I feel like the ones that if they last too long, like maybe I don't know. I feel like it's time to give someone else a chance, or give the neighborhood something else to look at for a while.
No, I mean it makes total sense. I have to agree with you. And it shocks me because that being ephemeros collides with the territoriality of graffiti.
For sure.
Because that's an essence, It's like you never paint on top of someone. Even though Hong Kong has a lot of weird cases. I had a fight with an Italian guy. Because of something someone told me, because someone decided to start writing stupid stuff on top of one of Laos's work in Peel Street.
On Peel Street. Oh I know which one.
You know the person I'm talking about.
I don't know that guy, but I know of him.
So let me tell you a story. I'm not confessing a crime because I actually did not hit him, but someone had told me about this, and I was having a very bad day. Like for totally different. Normally I couldn't care less about what other people do, but I was really having one of those days that everything was uphill and not like this. It was like this, and then I think I'm going to the office from Central, and I pass in front of that, and I see the guy, and he looks at me, like for whatever reason, I think he guessed I was gonna tell him something. He fixed me, and he was actually quite defiant, and then I started going off because of this, because of that, because you are lucky we're in Hong Kong. Yeah, it's crazy, but at the same time I understand it's street work. And cities evolve, and we are not going to be here in 100 years. So painting in the wall, eventually the air erosion will wipe them off. By the way, if you cannot find any room for the art that you make in the rooms, call me, because I have a very big wall here, so
right.
I would be super happy to host some of it. I was thinking, because one of the ways in which cool organizations make money is actually teaching the youth. Have you ever thought, or have you ever done like courses of spray painting for kids?
Yeah. Spray painting specifically, I'm trying to think of a case, but I'm sure we have. And we've been approached just recently by how do you pronounce it? Kellett School? Kellett School? I don't
Kellogg, yes.
Yeah.
Kellogg or Kelly?
Kellett, yeah.
Kellett, okay.
So talking to them about doing spray painting workshops with their students, their primary school students. But we've done a number of, and I guess, we've worked with KG5 with spray paint. We've done a number of workshops, both with spray paint, with acrylic paints, stencils, without. We've even done like more installation work with like, do you know Becky from Make and Do? She does a lot of like more craft and knitting, and so she did like an installation on a fence at Shawton Junior. So yeah, we do work with schools a fair amount, and kind of with spray paint, without. We also have, I don't know what year we're in now, but for a few years now, we've been doing a youth mentorship program where we're basically pairing young, kind of emerging artists, or they might be quite talented in illustration and other things, tattoos or tattooing, but they may not have painted a mural or worked at a larger scale yet. So we've been basically pairing young artists who want to start working in more murals or larger pieces with experienced professional artists, and then at the end of the approximately 6 weeks program, they spend a week to 10 days painting their first mural, oftentimes. So that feeds into our festival. This year we have 3 artists that'll be doing that. They're working with 3 established artists. I think, and then during the festival, oftentimes we have workshops and things, bringing students in as well.
That's nice. What is the youngest people that you bring in? Because I have a 40-year-old that she goes through notebooks. I mean, Olivia. She goes through notebooks very she's very conceptual still. She drives, but she likes to spend time drawing, which is something that I love, because I think it must be very, very relaxing for her brain, and I think she would have a lot of fun just being able to paint walls. I don't think she imagines she can make the jump from the paper to the wall, but if there was a way, I would for 100% encourage her to do that, because
I need to check the age group, but I don't see why 4-year-olds would be a problem. But we're doing some sticker workshops this year during the festival. So kind of like just a little bit of like pretty loose structure as far as I understand, but making different stickers at different scales or paste ups.
Nice.
And then, so I think that I need to check the dates, but that'll be happening, I believe the 22nd and 23rd of March at PMQ.
20. I don't know if it's on those dates for sure. I'll send her to check it out. So for you have, so we went through getting the walls. We went to bringing here the artists, even mentoring, putting together, emerging with consolidated them. You have PMQ, and then you have the, let's say, street walls. Do you have a guide that takes people everywhere?
We will have walking tours, around PMQ, around the neighborhood. Kind of by booking in advance. There'll be tours available, and then we'll have maps. So we'll basically have a Google map. You can just follow all the pins around.
That's very nice. I'm going to ask you some difficult questions.
All right.
Yes. Is there an artist that you are really looking forward to see this year? If you had to do a shout out of 1, 2, or 3 that you really want to see?
There's so many.
And don't tell me that you love your sons all in the same way. Whether it's one or the other that is you love a little bit more.
I think the last couple of years with working with the consulates institutions, we've really been able to, I think when we invite artists, I would say pre-COVID, when we were just working almost purely with corporate funding, some of the more prestigious and famous artists that we would approach, we wouldn't be able to offer them so much financially to come. Would kind of choose other projects over ours. But now that we have these kind of institutional supports, they hear you tell an artist that they're going to be representing their country via the consulate or via Alliance Française or Goethe Institute or something. I think we're able to draw in a higher level. So there's a lot of really good artists coming this year. Is basically what I was going to say. Do you know the French artist Hopper?
I'm not familiar, but can we edit in
some images,
some of the works? Yes, please.
So Hopper he painted with us in 2015, actually, a small wall on Hollywood Road, which you can actually see a little bit of it. It was covered up by a banner for a long time. And since 2015, maybe last year it's reemerged. But the paint's coming off and it's all but faded away, but you can still see traces of it there. Anyway, he's coming back, and we're working on this project on basically the facade of PMQ with him. So he's been doing this series in Lisbon, where he's hanging laundry and he's painting on the bed sheets and creating basically, he paints a lot of portraits of people, and so he's been painting these portraits of people on fabrics and laundry basically, and hanging them outside. And we thought it was really beautiful, and are basically working towards. There's if you walk by PMQ right now, you can look up and see tests hanging hanging from the outside of it. But we're basically kind of taking that idea and amplifying it, making it the size of the building.
Okay.
And kind of tapping into the history of PMQ and the residents who used to live there and some of the long-term tenants that are there now. And kind of a bit of telling the story, a little bit of PMQ through the people in the community. Mm-hmm. And so basically hanging laundry from all the balconies. And he'll be basically creating these large portraits across the facade that'll kind of wave of people who used to live there or currently occupy.
No, that's super cool. How do you spell the guy? I really want to check him out right now.
Hopare.
Hopper.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Nice. No, fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty incredible, I think.
No, we'll put him on the screen. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Wow, Maradona in Napoli. Nice. It's super. I mean, HKWALLS is very linked to the city. Do you ever think about doing Bangkok walls? Singapore walls? Do you have the temptation of expanding?
Yes and no. I think we wouldn't. I don't think we would want to just like go into another city and do exactly the same thing. Like I think if somebody from Bangkok or somewhere was like, "Hey, we love what you do. Can you come and help us?" Then yeah, I think we would absolutely go and help someone else build a festival. But I think it would be unique to that city. I don't think it would be branded the same way or named the same way necessarily. But I think it would be us kind of facilitating something for them rather than us just like dropping what we do there exactly the same.
Okay, I see. No, it's very nice. What time? So remind everyone, please, which dates they can start seeing things happening around the city.
The festival officially open on March 22nd and go till the 30th.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that you came here because I am very heartbroken. I have a flight to Italy on the night between the 21st and the 22nd of March.
Oh no.
Yes. As I told you before, I'm doing a new job and I have to do the induction, which is a very weird term because when you enter, it's a very corporate term. When you enter a company, you go through an induction. It's like if you were inducted from the aliens. It's like, I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm just making a joke. But so I have to go to Italy. Mid-April, there is Milan Design Week. So I'll just go there and study and learn about, super cool designer furniture. But my wife and my family will be around, so I will definitely send them and I will see the pictures.
Please.
I'm sure that you will do some media coverage. I'm sure that David will be there and send me some pics. Please do. And I hope that a lot of people enjoy. I hope this podcast is useful for that end. Regardless of that, I'm super happy that you came because it's always nice to talk to someone that has an original project, an original idea, and then I find it super cool that you make a living out of something that you like. So hats off to you, mate.
Thank you.
And to your co-founders and your team. David, I am very sad. But I think we did a very cool episode. And for everyone out there, today is a Wednesday. This is what we didn't crack up the beers.
We can still open them.
We will do things off air. Be happy, enjoy your weekend, your life. Go check them out. This is going to be published for sure before the event. I think somewhere we are talking about mid-March, so we are just on point. And be happy. Thank you again, Jason.
Yeah.
All the best to you. Did you like the episode, David?
Very good.
All right. Don't leave me with my fist like this. I cannot finish the episode without it. Be happy. Ciao. Love you.